Welcome to the Superconscious Success Podcast, where Jen and her Superconscious Success family co-hosts bring you valuable content each and every week on topics relating to manifestation, spirituality, and most of all, using your superconscious to manifest success in all areas of your life. Now on to today's episode.
Hey there, Superconscious Success fam. Welcome to another episode of my podcast where I connect with spiritual leaders, star seeds, and light workers to help you to connect with your higher self and source, to discover your truth and to embrace the divine being you were designed to be. Now, this podcast is aimed at helping you to discover the light, both outside and inside, and eliminate the fear that our 3D reality and our ego insists on pushing onto us. Now, once we discover who we truly are and we live from a place of love rather than fear, then we can ascend into the higher dimensions. Now, I'm so excited to be bringing my guest to you today. She is absolutely amazing. We chat for ages because she's incredible, and we're going to discuss a few of my absolute favorite topics. We're going to be talking about energy. We're going to be talking about the subconscious mind. We're going to be talking about moving from the victim to the victor mode, because this is something that we often get stuck in throughout life. And I am talking about Dawn Livingstone. Now, Dawn is an Ascension Coach. She's a Reiki Master teacher of 20 years. She's a practitioner of Theta Healing, which I'm going to go into a little bit, and a Master and Medical Intuitive Practitioner with Sacred Activations. Now, Dawn has an incredible story that I want her to tell you. So we're going to head on over and we're going to talk to Dawn. Hey, Dawn, how are you going today?
Good morning. I am fine. I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. You're an absolute delight, and we we have great conversations, and it's always great to meet so many incredible people that have so much knowledge. And we're talking about the different moon cycles before the interview and the different Mercury retrogrades and the different effects that can have on people. And being an Ascension Coach, you would see almost all sorts of different ascension symptoms, which I want to go into in a little bit. But how about you start off? Tell everybody your story and where you came from and why you're doing what you're doing now.
Sure. My story is really around surviving toxic relationships, surviving abuse in relationships.
Yep.
I'm originally from Scotland, and let me just give you a kind of quick story. My parents divorced when I was 4. My mother remarried when I was 7, so I then had 2 step siblings and a stepfather. My own father really wasn't in my life very, very much, and he was very. I think we were talking a little bit earlier on about narcissism, and my father was very much like that. Anything that I wanted to do that I would talk to him about, it wasn't good enough. Oh, you don't want to do that. So I was always put down. Yeah, and hindsight being the wonderful thing that it is, I realise now that I would push back against that. I would be defiant. So if ever he said to me that I shouldn't do something, I would just go and do it for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Just
become rebellious. Yeah.
Absolutely, totally rebellious. So from then, I had interactions with many, many people that were abusive to me in one way, shape, or form. So, and I'm not talking violent abuse, I'm talking more mental, emotional, psychological, verbal
which I actually
abuse.
think is worse in many situations.
Yeah, I suppose it could be. It works in a different way.
Yeah, it does.
And so all the way up through my life, I mean, I was bullied from school.
Yeah.
From like primary 7 and then up through high school and even into college. And then I would find myself, with boyfriends that were narcissistic and that were trying to manipulate me. Yeah, absolutely. Didn't realize that at the time.
No.
So my ex-husband, we had 3 kids, and I was just not happy at all. Didn't know what it was, for many, many years. And I used to take my 2 little ones to a karate class. And I think after 6 months into this karate class, I was thrown very badly, and I landed very heavily on my right hip, and I actually broke the bottom disc in my back,
Oh,
L5,
no.
and it was, squashing out onto the sciatic nerve, and I was in excruciating pain. And it was going on and on and on for quite a while. So we went to the hospital, and that's what was discovered. I was given loads of painkillers and muscle relaxants and sleeping pills, no PT or anything, just, here you are, take the pills.
Yeah.
So I felt discarded.
Yes.
I felt that they weren't listening to me, this type of thing, and I was in so much pain. So I think I was off for about 4 months from work. And on going back to work, I had to have a counsellor session because that was considered a long-term sickness.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make sure that I had the right working conditions, to make sure that I wasn't in pain when I was sitting or, wandering about, whatever. So I went to see this counsellor. I was fine with that. Went to the counsellor, and the first thing she did was ask me about my home life. How are things at home? That was the question. How are things at home? Oh my goodness, that poor woman. I'm sure she was very sorry she asked me that question, because out it all came. And I just used that woman to get everything out that was bothering me. Yeah. What my husband was saying to me, how he treated me, how unhappy I was, how much I was drinking, how much I just wanted to run away because I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I felt like I was trapped, felt like I couldn't do anything. And this was my awakening, really, when she turned around and said to me, because she listened to me talking, just waited very patiently, and then said, "So how long have you been getting abused?" And I said to her, "I'm really sorry, I think you've misunderstood. He's never lifted a finger to me, and I don't think he ever would." That's when she said to me, abuse is not just physical.
Yeah.
You have been mentally, from what you've been telling me, you have been mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and verbally abused during your marriage. And that was like this light bulb had gone, this is my epiphany.
Yeah.
And like my whole world stopped at that time to think about it, because I knew there was something there. And after the anger and all the different emotions that came up, I actually realized then that I had only been abused because I had allowed him to do it. And then I realized that the abuse all through my life was only because I allowed it. That was a massive change in my life. And from then, I think it was just a couple of weeks after that, to pick up the courage, I had to tell my husband that was it. It was over. I wanted a divorce. I wasn't happy and I wanted out. So it was a pretty tumultuous 6 months, 9 months after that, because there was lots of manipulation and I just was not standing for it. I don't know where the strength came from.
And that's the thing with the narcissist, is that the moment they think that you're leaving, the moment they think that you're actually going to,
they can turn it. Oh yeah, Jekyll and Hyde.
It'll be up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's that must have been one of the hardest things you had to do, but it would have also been the most rewarding, because the energy vampire, if your energy is constantly around somebody like that, then there's all sorts of different things you can start to feel. Not even, one of the worst things is the loss of self-worth. And
self-confidence, self-respect. You lose it
identity,
all, your sense of self. You've no idea who you are. You just lose yourself. And people don't understand either that by continuing to put up with that, you're giving your power away. You're giving control of yourself to somebody else. And they're quite happy to take control of anything you're going to give them,
because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for control.
Well, absolutely. And do you know the book? Let me just tell you this quickly. The book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
I love it. I've got it here.
I know. I reflect back on it a lot, actually. When I was flat out on the couch before I went back to work, I picked up this book thinking I might as well just read something, because there's not much else I could do. So I'm reading through this book, and I think I got the first chapter, a couple of pages in, and it said, "You are responsible for your own life and what happens to you in that life." I launched that book across the living room. Right? I thought,
this is the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard.
I know. And I thought, if she thinks that I created this accident, she's got another thing coming. There I was, I was all
Yeah.
quite annoyed. But during that time, I'd also emailed my Reiki teacher
Mm-hmm.
and had said, and I was on full-on victim mode at this point,
Yeah.
so depressed,
Yeah.
drinking
That's
lots
the
just to
last thing you
kind of
want to hear,
escape.
isn't it? That's the
I
last thing you
know.
want to hear at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I emailed my Reiki teacher and I had said, like, you had said to me that Reiki would change my life for the better. And look at me. I can't work. I can't walk. I can't pick up my kids. I feel awful. And literally within a few minutes, her response came in. It was one line. It said, have you ever stopped to think about what not being able to work is allowing you to do rather than what, oh, I can't remember the last bit now what she said, but
Mm-hmm.
it was
I get the
more, you,
message.
you
Yeah.
get the picture,
Mm-hmm.
okay, rather than what it's not allowing you to do. And I thought, okay, this is time for reflection. And again,
Mm-hmm.
that was the light bulb moment. And that was when I had discovered that it was my marriage that
Yeah.
was, it was not right. It was not right. So yeah, we all have our epiphanies or our light bulb moments
Yeah.
in different ways, shapes and forms. And that's really the big thing that I teach people. It's about awareness. You've got to be aware that there's an issue before you can do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's all about changing your perception
Yeah.
around that issue and why it's taking place before you can actually take action to correct it.
Yeah. Because I
So,
think that when it comes down to it, we all have a shadow side. We all have that side of us that we're trying to push away because it's too hard to deal with. There's the stuff that's gone on in our childhood. It's too hard to deal with, so we push it away. We don't
oh
want to
yeah.
admit that we're not perfect. We don't want to admit that we've got flaws. But it's important that we bring that to the light. It's important that we bring that shadow out because otherwise our inner child is going to suffer from it.
Oh, our inner child will throw a complete tantrum
Yeah, I love
over
that.
it. And what we do is, like you were saying, we're in denial. We
Mm-hmm.
totally deny issues that are coming our way. We brush them under our rug. And honestly, that is the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do, because what it does is it builds up like pressure inside a volcano.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, there is something going to trigger you, and that volcano is just going to blow
It's
its
going to
top.
erupt. Yeah.
Yes, and you're going to be angry or you're going to be full of hate and you're going to say some really horrible things because you have not been dealing with imbalances.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, if you feel like you want to cry, don't listen to people to say, when they say to you that crying is a form of weakness. It's absolute
It's a form of
nonsense.
strength. It
Yes,
really is.
absolutely. It's the complete opposite to
Mm.
weakness, and it also helps to keep you clear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
your inner child, absolutely. You've got to nourish that little you, that
Yeah.
tiny you, the soul you. You've got to look after it first and foremost.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to move forward. But we do bring all these imbalances forward. People just think that they take on
Yeah.
opinions of others and belief systems, etc., since they were born. And yeah, that is the case. But if they don't believe in past lives, they have a hard job understanding that every lifetime they have had, they are bringing forward all
I
these burdens, we call them, all these
this
vibrations of all their lifetimes.
yeah.
And
And this
it's they're
is
dragging it
interesting.
behind them in this massive suitcase.
Yeah. And this is interesting because I was actually literally just going to bring that up to you because, I know that you are a big proponent of talking about the subconscious mind and how powerful the subconscious
Yes.
mind is, how powerful our belief systems are. And as you say, our belief systems don't just come from this lifetime, just as our shadow side doesn't just come from this lifetime. Our trauma doesn't just come from this lifetime. It can come from past lifetimes. I had my Akashic records read a little while ago before I learned how I could start tapping into it myself. And I had them read and, I learned some stuff from my past lifetimes, which I have actually brought into this lifetime that I've had to now learn to heal, because in the
Mhm.
previous lifetimes I wasn't able to.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it's important to understand that, like you said, you don't just have to deal with stuff from this life. We have to figure out are these belief systems coming from, because there are people out there that they come from homes that are very wealthy and very well to do, but because of belief systems from previous times, they don't maybe they don't have the amount of money that they would like. You'd think if they grew up in a household like that. So I think that's really important to understand. Now, do you do a lot of work as an Ascension coach? Do you do past life regression and that sort of thing as well, or
It's not a past life regression, no. I mean, I could
you
if I
tap into
wanted
the
to do
past
that,
lives?
but it's, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even need to tap into the past lives. I suppose I kind of do in a way, but it all comes to me
Yeah.
intuitively.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, I can read a person, I can look at certain organs. The organs will
Mm-hmm.
scream to me if
Yep.
they have something that they need released, because they want to be healthy, they want to be happy too.
Okay. So how about
So
you give
wherever
me a couple of examples of this? Um,
of the organs
Yeah,
screaming.
yeah, just for a bit of fun. Let the audience know. Okay, so let's say that somebody came to you. Do people generally come to you because they have physical issues that they're wanting to deal with, or a variety of different things?
It's a variety of different things, really. People are now getting to the stage where they're understanding that
Yeah,
every imbalance, whether it be mental, emotional,
is
is
all
actually going to
connected.
manifest itself physically. Um, One example I could say, this lady's liver was absolutely screaming at me because there
Mm-hmm.
was so much suppressed anger in there, anger and
Okay.
hatred and rage that was
Ah, and
stored
that
in
can
her
affect your
liver.
liver. Okay.
Well, it can get stored in different organs for different people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But typically anger is held in the liver. And once
Interesting.
I was able to release, run energies to release this anger, this hatred, this rage from the liver and from every cell, and the vibration from the mind, then things really start to clear up. And she felt so much brighter just the next again day,
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
it's all vibration, it's all resonance, it's all
Yeah.
frequency. Your beliefs have a specific frequency, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what is brought forward through all your lifetimes. So really we're arriving in this current lifetime, dragging all the suitcases of everybody else's baggage, all our baggage, all our ancestral baggage,
Yeah.
from every single lifetime. Do you know that when you get to the 9th generation, you
Mm-hmm.
have over 2,000 ancestors?
Oh,
That's just
really?
in 9 generations, you have over 2,000 ancestors.
Oh my
So
goodness.
just in
Just
nine
imagine
generations,
that.
what's that, 180 years, you have been carrying forward 2,000 lifetimes of negative energy, of certain belief systems, of fears, of trauma, of abuse, of anything that's not serving you. You've got it all. And people expect to come and have everything cleared in a couple of sessions. So I
Yeah.
have to explain to them, you have been carrying lifetimes of stuff. It's
Yeah.
going to take time. We can't do it all in one go.
Yeah.
Let's give it, a few sessions and see how it goes. But normally by removing the very, very prevalent stuff, like the anger, like
Yeah.
the resentment, like the trauma and certain fears, we can start to dig things up and
Mm-hmm.
loosen other beliefs and vibrations that are stuck. And
Okay.
then usually by the next session, they're all coming to the surface.
Yeah.
They say, oh, I've had a really weird dream and I felt this that day and this memory popped back in.
Yeah.
But it's all that's why I explained to them, that's it coming to the surface for clearing. We've loosened it all off and
Yep.
it's all come up. You now have that memory. That is the memory that we need to clear the resulting emotions and feelings from. That is what's triggering it.
Yeah.
And if we don't remove it, it keeps them all stuck in the past. Right?
Yeah.
We can't get past that. If we have any regrets for our past or we don't clear our past, that's where we're going to live from. We
Yes.
can't live in the present and we're certainly not going to get to the future, but there's a lot of people
That are
that live
stuck in
their
the
life.
past.
Yeah, they live their
Yeah.
life every day with regret for their past and fear of their future.
And
So both
yeah,
of those, or either of those, will prevent you from being in the present. And that's the only way we can create, is in the
it
present.
is.
But if
Yes.
we're stuck in the past, we're not going to be able to do anything with our lives.
And that's when we're stuck in the past, that's when we move into victim mode. Because then all of a sudden it's like, well, the world has done this to me and this person's
Yeah.
done this to me. And then we start to feel guilt and shame. And there are also things that you can bring down from generation to generation. There are
Oh,
also,
all of it.
yeah,
Yes.
all of it. So from past lifetimes, it was interesting because some of the stuff that I learned in my past lifetimes brought with it levels of guilt and shame that I felt. And I didn't know the reason why. Because if I looked at this lifetime, I'd go, well, I haven't done anything wrong that I thought would cause it. But then I looked at my past and I went, oh, okay. So that, because we've got to remember that our soul is on a journey. Our soul is on this journey to learn and to expand and to grow. And so in every lifetime, it's got its own mission. And so every soul's got different things that it has to learn throughout that particular lifetime. And some of it will be what people would classify as not great. And some of it, you know, every lifetime is going to be completely different. So like you said, you'll bring through fear and guilt and shame and all those other emotions. So how do you what is your technique for actually being able to bring that to the surface? Is that done through energy work or Theta Healing or?
I kind of use my own combination of a lot of things
Cool.
now. I'm kind of pulling together my own course around it and
Awesome.
helping people to actually learn my method and my technique and how to actually connect and run energy on themselves.
Fantastic.
The victim and victor mode you were talking about,
Yeah.
I was definitely in the victim mode, like I was explaining, because we are taught to blame.
Yeah.
Nothing is our fault, right? Everything has to come from somewhere. But what the truth of the matter is that the universe actually provides you with whatever it is that you are. It will give you
Yes.
more of that. So, like I said, everything is frequency, it's vibration, it's resonance. So if you resonate anger and hatred every single day, all these vibrations are emanated 24/7, and the universe picks it up and sends you
Sends it
people
back.
or situations
Yes.
to make you more hateful or more angry.
Yeah.
The same goes if you live a joyful life. Yeah, if you're
Then you get
radiating
people
joy
that
all
come
the
into
time,
your life.
you get more people to give you joy. And that's the way the universe works. It's all vibration. It's the law of vibration.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, most people have heard of the law of attraction, but the law of vibration is actually the sister of the law of attraction. It's those two go together.
Yeah. I
And
see the law of attraction as like a sub-law of the law of vibration.
yeah, absolutely.
And the victor mode, because you feel like you're a victim, you, by the law of vibration, are actually the victimizer too.
Yes.
Yeah, because you are the person that you are creating your experiences for.
It's all
So
it all comes
people,
from within us.
yeah, and people always say that they that life happens to them, but actually life happens because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that, I mean, we all know the situation where you get up in the morning, you stub your toe, right? All of a sudden, you get angry, you get frustrated, you start jumping around and telling the universe off for it happening. And then what happens the rest of the day? The rest of the day is rubbish, because you have just brought in more opportunities to be frustrated, to be angry, and so all of a sudden you're stuck in the traffic, all of a sudden, people at work are annoying you, whatever goes on,
Yeah,
you
you're easily triggered,
you get another
because you're
bill come in the
irritated.
post, whatever it is. But if you know, I believe that life's about choices.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I believe we have the ability to say, okay, am I going to get upset by this? Or what I tend to do now is laugh. And I go, well, that was a bit of a silly thing to do, wasn't it? And then you can change how you see it. Like you said,
Yes.
perception. And that's what you're
Mhm.
saying. You look at a situation, you change your perception of it. And you go, okay, what one person could see it this way, another person could see it this way, but which way is going to make me feel better? Which way is going to put me on the higher vibrational scale? Because that's going to allow me to bring more good into your life.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I often talk to people about just acknowledging how you feel. You know, don't
absolutely.
don't refuse to feel irritation if you've stubbed your toe and you feel
No,
irritated. Just allow
absolutely.
your body to and think, oh yeah, I feel, oh, that really hurt. Oh,
But
it's
it's
so
just not staying
irritating.
in it for a long time.
Absolutely.
Mm.
You understand what's happened, you acknowledge it, and
Yep.
then you're able to release it. You're able
Yes.
to just let it go so that you're not taking it on, you're
Yep.
just transcending it. Yeah.
Because isn't it true that if it is when we suppress these emotions, when we suppress these feelings, that they continue to go on. If we don't release them, if we don't have a way to be able to release them, like you said, acknowledge them. If you've got a sore knee or a sore foot or some other sort of thing, acknowledge it. Acknowledge
Mhm.
the pain. Okay, this hurts right now, but you can go now. I don't need you to be around anymore. I acknowledge the pain, but you can go. And then gradually over time, as you start to realize this, and you start to realize that we are all whole and healed anyway.
Mhm.
It's our belief systems, it's our programming, which we're going to get into,
Yeah.
which actually causes these manifestations within our body. I know when I had with the problems with my plantar on my foot, and the more you focus on it, the worse it gets. The days I forget about it and I don't even think about it, then it just disappears. You start
Mhm.
focusing on it again, it comes back again.
It
So
does, yeah.
I think
Energy goes where your focus goes, yeah.
yeah. So if you focus on yourself being whole and healed, then that's what you're going to end up getting.
Yeah, and
So
everything does manifest itself physically.
it
And
does.
if you don't start taking on any physical signs and
Mm-hmm.
look into them, then it's going to get frustrated with itself and start to create something else or make
Mm-hmm.
that condition worse. And it can create anything from a slight headache right up to diabetes or cancer, some really horrible diseases. Um, and then when you realize what's been causing them is that, we've just been adding all our emotions inside this volcano.
Yep.
Sometimes it can be too late where you've got to deal with panic as well.
Yeah.
So it's a case of,
Super Conscious Success fam, thanks so much for joining me in this interview. And I'm just taking a short break in the interview just to let you know about an exciting offer that I have for you. I'm just in the process of building the Super Conscious Success Inner Circle, which is going to be a free membership that you're going to be able to get access to, which is going to eventually, once I've got it all built up, include courses and exclusive content and a whole heap of other stuff that's going to be available for you to help you to expand that consciousness and to come into your power. And it'll include content from all of my different segments, from Super Conscious Success, Your Spiritual Shift, Raising a Conscious Human, and also Peace and Prosperity. And you'll include content from all of that, as well as the Self-Empowered Empath, Higher Self-Mastery, and a whole heap of other different collaborations and projects I have on the go. However, to get this free membership, you do need to go and sign up. So if you go to superconscioussuccess.com/inner circle, you can sign up absolutely free for it. As the content builds and I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will then be making it a premium product, which means that you will no longer get it for free. It will be a monthly charge. But if you get in now and you get into the free membership, then you will have that free for life. So head across now as we're in the building phase, and you'll start to get more and more awesome content flowing in. And Yeah. So head on over there now, superconscioussuccess.com/inner circle. Now let's head on back to the interview.
Mind-body connection is real. If you have something physical going on, there's an imbalance that's trying to get your attention,
Yeah.
and it wants to be addressed. It wants to live in your body wants to live healthily.
Yes.
And without any imbalances.
And
It
it's
wants to have
going,
the energy flow and just, be healthy for you. That's exactly what it wants.
Yeah.
So pay
And it's just
attention. Yeah, pay
going,
attention.
yeah, it's just going, you're just missing something here and you're not listening to what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm going to amp this up. And if I have to amp it up to the point that, you've, like you said, you can get really debilitating conditions until you acknowledge, and this is why people have gone into remission like countless times once they have started to work on the inner part of themselves. It's a lot
that's
of
exactly where it is. That's where the issue is. It's
exactly
inside them.
Yeah.
And the doctors, they're too quick. And I don't mean to belittle doctors. I mean, everybody has their place, and they have their place, but the doctors are too quick to give pharmaceutical treatment or surgery, or even worse things, chemotherapy, etc. And they can be very toxic to the body too. So it's, look at it in a natural level before you go for anything like that, because they're not curing, they're just suppressing.
Exactly. And once you realize, as we just said, that you're already whole and healed, our body is here as a vessel. Our body is here to hold your soul and to allow you to experience what your soul wants to experience. That's what it's here for. And so if you envision your body and know that that's its natural state, and listen to the signs and go, okay, well, this is what this is trying. I realized that what the the whole foot thing, well, there's a lot of different things that could be. That could be standing on your own 2 feet. That could be
stepping forward, stepping out.
Yeah, there's lots of different reasons. And so it's quite fascinating when you start to think, okay, why is this here? Okay, what's the message this is trying to tell me? And you start to gradually work through it. And I love that work. Now,
people get scared. People get scared about having to do the work themselves. They want a healer to do it for them, but they don't understand it. They're the ones that has to do the work to find the inner issues. And people really call it, addressing your demons. And that sounds really scary to people, so they don't really want to take a look.
Well, I say address your shadow side, because I think that
your shadow self. But I would say it's not as scary as you think. It's actually really enlightening for you to find out what issues are and to clear it and to feel so much better. It's not as scary as they think.
No, and I mean, last year was a tough year, and I think it was a tough year for a lot of people, but I went through like almost a whole year of Dark Night of the Soul. It was just, I was really going through this whole awakening, and it was hard. I would be in the corner crying one minute, and my husband would be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Actually, I'm really good, because I know what's happening." And I was lucky because I did know what was happening. And then this year, like when this year started, there's, like you said, there's that enlightenment. It's like I dealt with so much of my shadow. I dealt with so much that I had to deal with, that I was able to overcome. And I was able to bring it to the light. And I was able to then become more conscious of, how I was feeling, and conscious of what I was doing. And I realized I had to start speaking up. And
well, there's a good word you were talking there, conscious.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Do you know that our conscious mind only creates our reality between 1% and 5% of the time? We only consciously create a tiny part of our day.
Because our subconscious
mind.
That's a great segue. I love how you do that. And I was about to
the subconscious mind creates our life 95 to 99% of the time. Picture for me, if you can, just in your mind's eye, an iceberg, right? So there's an iceberg. The little bit of ice that's sticking out at the top, you label that your conscious mind. And we all know from Discovery that...
Or Titanic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to say that, but you beat me to it. that the ice under the surface of the water is so much bigger than the bit that's actually peeking out the top. Label that the subconscious mind. And this is the mind that drives our life. Subconscious mind is where all our beliefs, our opinions, our habits, our paradigms, that's where that is all housed. It's all programs. And it's, people talk about riding a bike, right? Oh, I haven't ridden a bike for 40 years. And then they get on it and off they go.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like
because
driving
they've learned that
cars.
from, absolutely, when they were a child, they learned to ride this bike. The subconscious mind stores it as a program and recalls it whenever you next get on a bike.
Yep.
Right? That's the way it is. We will take opinions and belief systems from other people when we are growing up. We're very vulnerable between the ages of, well, from birth to about 7 or 8 years old. Subconscious mind then is wide open, and it absorbs everything like a sponge.
Yeah.
So you think about it, the kids have grandparents, maybe even great-grandparents, their own parents, their friends, their school teachers. They've got social media now from when they're, 4 years old. And they're getting their opinions from the news, and whatever is pounded at them all the time. The more they watch it, the more they hear it, the more it goes into the subconscious mind and cements it in there. That becomes their truth. And that's the vibration that they're going to emanate and receive in their life. So I tell people that if they're not happy with their life, take a look at what they're receiving, what are they creating for themselves, and that'll give you a good start as to what needs to be cleared.
Yeah, exactly. And the good news is, and the promising news is, that you can change it. And altering the subconscious mind is actually, it's not difficult.
No.
It's all about repetition. It's all about replacing the old beliefs with ones that are more beneficial, ones that, visualizing your what you want your life to look like. Because the subconscious mind, like you said, it runs your life.
It does.
It decides what you're going to manifest.
And that word that you said there, repetition, I want to just touch on repetition, what you said there, and manifestation, like you had mentioned. Repetition is a great thing to go into the subconscious mind.
Yep.
However, you're not going to be able to manifest based on that.
Yeah.
Simply because we have our opinions and our truths that are actually blocking us from manifesting. If we have lots of guilt, lots of shame, lots of anger, lots of hatred, if we have all of these in our subconscious mind and we do not clear it, that's going to block anything you try to create in your life. You've got to remove the blocks first.
Yeah,
you can't just spend all day listening to positive affirmations. And although that might be a really nice thing, it's not detrimental, but it's not beneficial, because you're not going to get anywhere. You have to remove the negative first to allow the positive to come through. We also we were talking about our subconscious mind creating 95 to 99% of our daily lives. That is our individual subconscious mind.
Yes.
We also, as an added bonus, have to deal with what we would call the hive, or the collective subconscious of the planet. And if you think about the Earth and think about the moon, the two sizes of that, the moon, which is obviously the smaller of the two, is actually where unconditional love, joy, happiness, all the positive things are housed, right? That's the size of it. The size of the Earth is the negativity. So it's the hatred, it's the corruption, it's everything else. That supersedes anything that you want to try and do as an individual if you are tapped into this collective subconscious.
So how do we make sure that we're not tapped into that? Is that like literally just, not watching the news and
it's by working on yourself, because if you work on yourself and you clear that from your own subconscious mind, then it automatically disconnects from the collective. So and I would be very, very wary. And let me tell you a quick story. I have been really stuck on social media about finding out what's been going on, politics. I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep myself going and trying to keep myself informed. It's nice to know what's happening in your country, right? Until I realised how
I prefer not
detrimental it
to.
was. Yeah, well, I do now.
Yeah.
I do now. Because it was so detrimental to my productivity.
Yeah.
I found that I was scrolling on my phone like this,
Oh,
or on the
totally.
internet looking at news articles.
Distractions.
And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm doing absolutely nothing here. So once I removed that vibration of addiction to social media, addiction
Mm-hmm.
to the news, addiction that I have to know everything,
Yeah.
once I managed to remove them, it was so much easier for me just to put my phone down and do some work or concentrate on what it was that I was doing. And I also felt so much more balanced,
Lighter,
so much,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
so much more connected with what was actually going on in the moment. So I
Mm.
would encourage people to, stay away from the social media and the endless scrolling,
Yeah.
stay away from the news and politics if they possibly can, because it really does. It kind
Yeah.
of wrecks your day.
I
It
mean,
wrecked mine.
I'm the same. I have not watched the news in I don't know how long. And the interesting thing is my dad, and I love him to bits, and he's one of the most remarkable men, but he watches the news religiously. And when all the COVID stuff was happening, and watch the news and watch how many deaths there were, and all the stuff, because of course the
Fear,
media
fear,
likes
fear.
the media likes to promote fear.
Oh yeah.
And so he'd watch this, and then he'd wonder why he couldn't sleep at night, and then
Yeah.
he'd wonder why, and then he started to feel that fear. And
Mhm.
and now he is so scared of COVID, because he's watched so much news saying about how many people it's killed. And he's getting on, so he's like almost 70, almost 70ish. And my mum's got heart disease and diabetes, so of course they say, oh well, she's prone, and the rest of it. So but he's living in a place of fear, because he's surrounded himself with
Yeah,
so
with it.
much, to the point that he won't, like, because he lives in the country, but to the point that he won't come down to the city because there's so many people here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's isolated himself because of that.
It's such a
And
shame. Yeah.
it is a shame, because it's kind of, but he's not a a single person that, this is all over the world,
Yeah,
that
it
people
is.
are hiding away because they watch the news that tells them that it's so dangerous, and that it's going to, it's going to kill you if you go out without a mask or whatever it is. And so that becomes ingrained in them. That's their belief system. All of
Yeah,
a sudden,
it
they
is.
believe that that's the truth.
Yep.
And until we can change our perception, until we can, like you said, clear that fear, maybe clear the anger that you're experiencing for the people that have caused it, because that's the thing. There's so many people that are so angry because
Yeah.
people have lost people.
It's
And so,
about awareness as well,
yeah,
about, educating people about how life really works, how
yeah,
they're creating their lives and all the vibrations and how they're getting hooked into all these negative things.
yep,
Sometimes I find that once they understand it,
yeah.
then they're a bit more able to accept it, because people reject
Yeah.
and attack things that they don't understand,
Oh,
right? And that's
absolutely.
unfortunately just human nature. That's the way we've been brought up to, to respond to
And
things
it's
that
interesting
we don't
because
believe.
I don't, and he's so stuck in his beliefs that I don't even talk about it anymore.
Mhm.
It's to the point that,
Yes.
okay, this is a topic that I'm not even going to go there, because, this is his belief, and this is something that he has to work through. But it is sad, because this becomes part of the collective consciousness. And now all of a sudden we've got all these people that are in fear.
Yeah.
And so we're having to clear the fear of them,
Yeah.
the fear of us.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of work that we have to do. So if somebody's, like we said, stay off social media. That's one tip. I've actually stopped the news feeds from all of my social media. If you can, stop all the news feeds from your social media. Don't watch the news. I figure if somebody's actually if something's happening in the world I need to know about, someone will tell me. So I just because everything is exaggerated.
Yeah, very much
Mm,
so. And I think also allowing yourself to be to educate yourself, not to
mm.
be educated by somebody
Right,
else. If you
exactly.
have one opinion that you know is holding you in fear, like COVID, for
Yeah,
example, go and investigate what other
yes.
people are saying about
Hmm.
COVID. Get
Absolutely.
yourself informed, right? Because you cannot make an informed
And see
decision
both
unless you
sides.
hear both
Hmm.
sides. And that's exactly what people need to do. Then that can possibly change their perception, because if they hear and they see evidence of another way, then that that could change their perceptions, and it might better resonate with them. So
Yeah,
why are they holding themselves in this pattern of fear, when they could easily go and research some things for themselves and make
yeah.
it better?
I
I'm
mean,
not saying that's going to happen in every case,
no,
but I think you owe it to yourself, and you're important enough for you to be armed with information from both sides before you make the choice of which one you will believe.
exactly. And it's the same when you're talking about, say, people that are stressed about finances.
Yeah.
And, you're going, oh, well, I work a 9 to 5 job. That's all the money I'm ever going to be able to make. And what if I lose my job? And there's a lot of people that are going through that. But if you go and you research and you go, okay, well, there's these people and they're making a lot of money and they're doing what they love. And there's not just one avenue of income for them. And you start to change your perception. You start to realize, okay, what I once believed was actually because of my family's belief system, because
Yes.
of
Uh-huh.
my environment when I was growing up,
And what I was told.
and what I was told.
Yeah.
And so we can change that.
Yes,
And
we
we can
can.
alter and we can change our perception of it. And this comes
Yeah.
down to the subconscious mind and the clearing that you're talking about.
Mhm.
So if somebody was to, they realize that they still had, because it's really about, like you said, the awareness. It's being
Yeah.
aware that you've got fear. It's being aware that you've got anger,
Mhm.
and whereabouts in your body that it is, where
Yes.
it's being stored. So what could people do if they've recognized this and they're aware of this and they want to release it? What can they do? Do you recommend like journaling? Is there some particular technique that they can use to be able to help to release those emotions?
It's really what resonates with them and what
Mm.
makes them feel comfortable. Journaling, it can be a good one. I know a lot of people that journal. I can't be bothered with it.
Yeah.
It's not something that I want to do, but it works for some people. So I
Yeah.
want to say whatever works. Meditation too,
Mm.
if you want to try meditation. I know sometimes
Meditation's
right in the
great.
beginning it can be hard to find yourself connecting. And sometimes I don't meditate for weeks
Yeah.
because I have a hard job in connecting. So try not let that put you off, because it is
Yeah.
really nice once you get into the swing of it.
Yeah.
Being aware every day of your thoughts and your
Yeah.
habits, your thoughts, your words, and your actions really on a daily basis. Just be conscious of what you're thinking. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have any negative thoughts, write them down, because that will give you a whole ton of
Yeah.
things that are really blocking you.
It'll start to
And it,
bring those belief systems through.
oh, absolutely.
Mm.
And then they can either, seek help with somebody like myself to
Mm-hmm.
release it for them in a much faster way.
Yeah.
You were talking about repetition. Repetition does change the subconscious mind, but it takes considerably longer,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because
Absolutely.
your existing beliefs are pushing back
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
new
It's
way
like
of
when
thinking.
you do this repetition, you say, I am, because of course with affirmations, it's all about the present, because there is only ever the present. So,
Hmm.
but they say, I am a billionaire. Well, your previous belief system's telling you you're not a billionaire.
Uh-huh.
And so even with repeating it over and over again, you've got to release those previous belief systems,
That
so
are
then
blocking,
that are
yes.
blocking it. So then you can reinstall some new ones.
Well, it's just
Um,
like your kitchen. It's just like your kitchen pantry,
mm,
right? You've got to go in there when it looks a mess and take out everything that is out of date before you can stock it up and put
yeah,
good stuff back in. It's exactly the same. You can't put good stuff in when there's a pile of rubbish in there that you need to get rid of first. It just doesn't work like that.
So if people are listening to this and they're going, I'm having a real hard time understanding how the subconscious changes what happens in my physical world, how the subconscious runs my life. How could we turn something from in our mind into something physical? How does that happen?
But well, everything is mind. It's all made of mind. And whatever is in our mind is created.
Yeah.
Right. And our subconscious
this
mind
is all an illusion,
has the power.
right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say that because I thought I was going a wee bit too deep there.
No.
But yeah, this life is an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we
it's created by our subconscious
create what's in
mind.
front of us.
Absolutely.
And what's interesting is, and this I found quite fascinating, is that, as we've said before, we've said that what you focus on, you attract.
Yes.
And what you focus on is what you're going to see arrive within your reality. Okay, so if you're focusing on
what
debt,
you vibrate, you will attract.
Yes, exactly.
Energy flows where the focus goes.
Yeah. So the funny thing was, I was thinking the other day, and I was reading through some stuff on, paradigms and quantum physics, and I'm really fascinated by quantum physics. And do you know that something does not actually exist in say you've got a room and nobody's focusing on that particular room. What's in there does not exist until someone has actually put focus on that particular space.
That's right, because the mind creates it.
Yeah, because the mind creates it
physically.
Mm-hmm. And this is why we actually have, and people have a hard time understanding it, because this is why we all see things so differently. Mm-hmm. So one person may go, oh, well, that looks like that, and another person might go, no, I don't see that. This actually looks like, because we all perceive things very differently.
Yeah, it's all around perception. It's a bit like hearing. If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around, does it make a sound? It depends if there's anybody there to actually hear it. It's an actual reception, a receptor thing.
It's fascinating.
I know the mind boggles.
Oh, there's so much that you can delve into when it comes to the subconscious mind, because it's such a powerful thing. If you can retrain that subconscious, and I mean, when you think about it, we drive a car, and half the time our subconscious is actually driving that car for us.
Oh, wait, absolutely.
Because
it's all
I don't even remember turning that corner or putting my indicators on or any of that. But the subconscious is making us do it. It's
that's programming at its finest. It's not just been one occasion where I've driven home from the store and I've pulled the car into the garage
and gone, how did I get here?
I don't even remember driving.
Yeah.
Because I'm off, my brain, my head's it's on the moon or somewhere else, thinking about what I'm doing for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, your subconscious is really good at protecting you from that. So it's like we'll be there's been many times, actually there was one time when I had autoimmune disease and I blacked out at the wheel because I was on medications and I had the kids in the back seat. And so it was a split second, but I was driving. And my subconscious was actually the one that's kind of saved me, because I knew exactly where I was going. It was steering in the right direction, but I came back and knew exactly where I was. And I think that it's really important that we understand the power of it if we can alter it to work for us.
We have learned it. We have learned it, so we can unlearn it. Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Now,
and it's easier than people think. It really is easier than they think.
It is. And so can you go just a little bit into Theta Healing for me? Because you use Theta Healing, don't you?
Not so much now.
Not so much now? Was that one of the first things that you did?
It was the third thing that I did. Okay. Yeah.
So,
but the concept is the same. It works on different levels. It works on past lives, it works on the soul level, etc. And it works on vibration, and it works to remove a certain vibration of a certain thing, like anger. So yeah, it's all, just connecting and being the facilitator to
Yeah.
run this energy
Okay.
and remove the anger, say, from this organ,
Okay.
and the facilitator and the witness to the energy changing.
Mm-hmm.
But the client is actually the person doing the healing, because they're the one accepting it and integrating it. So it's entirely over to the client,
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we can say we're healers, but really the client is the healer in
Yeah.
that situation.
And
Yeah, because
and
they have to
we can only heal
understand.
ourselves, can't we?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And
So
the
really, I'm the facilitator.
yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Now, your sacred activations, is this the process that you were talking about, where you actually go in and you help them to release these blocks? Is this what the sacred activations is about?
It's kind of a mixture between the theta, the sacred activations, and some other energy, which I'm not getting the name of, but it
Yeah.
works in a similar. So it's kind of pulling everything together for me
For
at
your
the minute.
own
So
unique healing style.
yeah, it's not a specific one that I use. It's a combination of several of them.
Fantastic.
But sacred activations works on sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the universe
Which
is
is
constant.
fascinating.
It is, it is. Sometimes it blows my mind a little bit, and I just kind of,
It's
go
very
with it.
deep. It's very deep.
Uh-huh.
And I know that, have you ever seen the Gaia series on TV?
Uh-huh. Which
Yeah.
one?
The Gaia.com. And they've got all of the different programs.
The sacred, are you talking the sacred
Yeah,
geometry
they've actually
part of
got it.
that?
Yeah. And it's
I
it's
haven't
quite,
started it, but
you haven't started it, but it's
no.
very deep and fascinating, but very deep. And so I mean, that was one of my first kind of real delving into sacred geometry. So but awesome. Well, we have covered so much today, and you and I, we could talk forever. So but I would like you to let our listeners know what you're up to, how they can get in touch with you, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, at the minute I am just trying to build a community, trying to build some friends over here now that we're in a
Awesome.
new place. Um,
How long have you been there for?
4 months now,
4
just
months.
under 4 months.
Because she's just in
But
Texas, so friends.
if there's anyone in Texas, yes, give me a shout. Love to, or anybody. It'd be nice to meet for a virtual coffee.
Yep.
So they can. My website is dawnlivingstone.com, just like my name.
Yes.
And there is a contact me form there. If they want to get in touch or ask any questions, they're very, very welcome to use that. And there's also, they can sign up for my newsletter. If they do that, then they will get an automatic audio file that will give them some free healing.
Fantastic.
If they want to do that. And then they'll find out a little bit more about what it is that I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely head across and get that free healing. And so are you taking clients on at the moment?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I'm starting to take them back on now since my painting's coming to an end.
She's been painting for like, what, 4 weeks? Has it been longer than
4
that?
months.
Even?
Nearly 4 months, yeah.
Well, hopefully it won't be too long and you can start getting back to normal again. Because
yes.
I know it's a big job. So, but definitely head across. And if you are dealing with some of those blocks and you're dealing with that fear and that anger and emotions that you're not sure of where they come from, then definitely give Dawn a call or email her or whatever, and start to work.
I'm more than happy to give anyone that is interested in learning more a free consultation. I do a free 30-minute consultation.
Oh, awesome.
And they'll find that on the website as well. So
fantastic. So do that. There is nothing to lose. And Dawn can explain to you exactly what she does. And then you can start to reprogram those belief systems so that you can manifest that life of your dreams, which is what we're here for. We're here to have fun and to be enjoy and to love life.
Sure is.
So, well, thank you so much for your time today, Dawn. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know that my listeners will get a lot of benefit from it. And you enjoy the rest of your painting.
It was my pleasure. And thank you very much. I'm so done with painting now. Go and do something else, I think.
Good idea. Okay, bye-bye.